Hey everyone, Brick City Brown Chick coming at you with another episode. Happy Juneteenth, all. I realize Juneteenth was yesterday, but happy Juneteenth. Hope everyone had a good one. This week's episode is titled, It's Juneteenth. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. And I'm exhausted. Yeah. So Juneteenth is the day that commemorates June 19th, 1865, when federal troops reached Galveston, Texas, where the last remaining slaves were notified that the Civil War was over and that they were free. So that is what Juneteenth remembers. The celebration they had after learning they were free has become known as Juneteenth, which is obviously a combination of June and the 19th. That's what Juneteenth is. So whenever people start yelling about how Juneteenth is not a real word, save it. That's where it came from. Given the I can only describe it as dystopian hellscape that America has become in the last few months, remembering the day in 2021 when then President Joe Biden signed the congressional order making Juneteenth a federal holiday into law seems like a lifetime ago. And it is very difficult functioning in today's America. Those of us who had hoped that this country would choose to move forward in the last election were not only severely disappointed, but just angered and frustrated that America chose instead to put its history of racism and hatred on full display by electing a 34-time sexually assault convicted person to run this country. For round two, it was just horrifying. That's the only word I can use. As I said in the beginning, I am totally exhausted. We are less than 6 months into this 4-year nightmare, and I wake up every day just exhausted and frustrated and in no mood to see the news or watch the news because I know there is yet some crazy or illegal or hateful thing, or all three, that has taken place while I have been asleep. And for the, well, if you don't like it, go back where you came from crowd comes in here, you will be blocked. Go take that mess over to X because this is not the place or the space for you. If you are a person who disagrees with what I have to say, that's fine. Be respectful in the comments. But I absolutely positively will not waste my time with trolls. So let's get that clear at the beginning. I have seen several Black content creators this week talking about how they are seeing a lot of Hispanic content creators attempting to take Black people to task for our overall refusal to be out in the streets and out at these protests, which are talking about how illegal and immoral this administration is treating Hispanic people. And I wanted to talk about that today because that, for me, is a big issue. In America, people of other groups and other ethnicities have always looked to Black people to help them. Now, why is that? That is because we are the original oppressed people in the United States. We are the people whose ancestors were dragged here in chains and forced to work for people as slaves. And I don't want to hear this nonsense about, oh, slavery wasn't that bad. And you people, meaning people of my generation and younger, should be grateful for what white people did for your ancestors because we took you out of the jungle and made you civilized people. Miss me with that bullshit. Just miss me with it. So because we've always been the persecuted group, other persecuted people look to us for tips and strategies and slogans because we've done it longer than anybody. We've done it longer than the Chinese. We've done it longer than the women's rights movement, than the gay rights movement, than the Arab rights movement, than the Jewish rights movement. In America, we are the originators. So people always want us, or expect us in this case, when shit hits the fan for them, that Black people are going to step up and help them. And Hispanic people, a lot of them seem very confused and angry with Black people right now about why we're not helping. Let me clarify this. In the last election in November 2024, Hispanic people, especially Hispanic men, voted for the current occupant of the White House by a 2-to-1 margin. And what that said to Black people loud and clear was, fuck you. We are going to side with white people and white supremacy, and if they screw you over, we don't care. Now, anyone with a brain who sees that attitude and that behavior will take a step back and go, okay, you know what? You've shown me your whole ass, and therefore I'm done. I will not help you ruin me. I will not try and help people who gave me the middle finger and said, I don't give a shit what happens to you. And so that's where a lot, and I would even say most, Black people in America are right now. We are tired. We are angry. We are frustrated. And most importantly, we are done. We are done being the doormats. We are done being the organizers. And most importantly, we are done being the cannon fodder. We are done with being on the front lines of everyone else's protest and fight for their rights when you don't do the same for us. Your attitude, by and large, in the 2024 election was, We don't care if he screws you over as long as he doesn't screw us over. That was your attitude. And so now Black people are like, okay, you know what? We're going to mind our own business and we're going to take care of ourselves because everybody else has shown us that they don't give a damn what happens to us. So we have to take care of ourselves, and whatever happens to them happens to them. Now, for some of us, and I include myself in this us, this is a very hard place to be. Because most Black people were raised Christian. And I don't mean right-wing, Jesus is white, screw the poor. I don't mean that kind of Christian. I mean true Christians. You take care of the poor and the sick and the infirmed and the less fortunate, and you fight for the rights of people because that's the right thing to do. Not because they look like you, and not because they don't look like you, but because it's the right thing to do. Those of us who are raised that way are having a real hard time right now being hands off and being like, I can't be in this. This is not my fight, and I will not fight. That is a very hard place to be. But from a purely practical standpoint, this is where Black people have to be right now. This administration is looking for any reason to declare martial law and to start shooting Black people. There have been the craziest statements made this week in the lead up to the president's birthday, military, we want to be South Korea and Russia now parade nonsense. There have been sheriffs throughout the country that have said things like, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, or if you dare try to damage property, we will shoot you. This is where America is right now. This administration is just itching for a fight. They are itching to kill people, especially people of color. So everybody needs to wake up and say, you know what? This is not my fight and I will not participate in it. I will not be cannon fodder. I will not fight for people who said, screw you, we don't care what happens to you as long as we're okay. Now, of course, what we've seen in the last few months is that those people who voted for this, who thought they would be okay, are not okay. They are being deported and picked up and detained by ICE and thrown in jail and being shipped off to countries they have never been to, don't know, and don't speak the language. Now, what I keep hearing from people is that they were bamboozled, they were lied to, they were tricked. And my response to that is, you got played. And I'm not really sure how you got played, because the current occupant of the White House made it very clear what he was going to do. And I don't know how you interpreted, I'm only going to take the bad people. I don't know why you interpreted that as he would not take you. Because this man hates anybody who is not white. And if you live in the delusion that that's not true, I'm not sure what to tell you. He hates Black people, he hates brown people, he hates women too, which is super interesting since he's had 3 wives, but it's real clear he hates women too. So all the people who fit into those categories who voted for this is what you voted for. So for you to now look at Black people and say, we need to be united. We need to get over the past, and we all need to be on the same page because he's coming for all of us. Our attitude about that is, yeah, we know. We told you this for months leading up to the election. Months and months and months. We told you this would happen. And now that it's happening, now is the time you want to unite. And Black people are like, absolutely not. Because you know what we know now? If you had the opportunity to do this all again, you would still vote for this man. Because you would still have the attitude of, as long as it's you and not me, I don't care. 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. 80% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. We, as a community, did our part. Your community did not. And instead of being angry at Black people, you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and at your own community and call them out. The Latinos for Trump, the Cubans for Trump, the Venezuelans for Trump, whoever, you need to call them out. Because they were the deciding factor in this election. They are what caused the current occupant of the White House to be the current occupant of the White House. So going off and taking on Black people is absolutely insane to me. It is totally insane. It is the equivalent of walking up to somebody and slapping them in the face and then blaming them for you slapping them in the face. It is crazy to me. And so I really need Hispanic people, Latin people to take a look in the mirror and talk to the people in your community, because you caused this. You caused this, and you need to take accountability. Everybody likes to throw that word accountability around like they know what it means. Clearly, people don't know what it means. You have to admit what you did, see what it caused and the havoc it wreaked, and commit to doing differently the next time. And it is that third piece, the committing to doing something different next time, that Black people do not trust whatsoever. People always talk about the things that are wrong in the Black community. Black men are in jail. Black men are shooting each other in the streets. Black women are having babies out of wedlock. Or on the other side of that, Black women are still single at 40 and aren't having children. And what's up with that? People always want to talk about that. What people generally don't talk about are the issues in the Hispanic community, are the fact that most of those societies are highly patriarchal and that the women do what the men say. So if your husband said, I'm voting for this person, then he expects that you are also going to vote for that person like you don't have a mind of your own. There is colorism in the Black community, but colorism in the Hispanic community is off the chart. And if you want to know how I know that, let's look at the island of Hispaniola. Hispaniola, in its entirety, is the island that contains two countries, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And if you understand anything about people from the Dominican Republic, the first thing they will tell you is that they are not Haitian. And the second thing they will tell you is that they are not Black, they are Dominican. The truth is that Hispanic people and Black people, in terms of culture and where we came from and how we all got to be here, are basically this. But the way Hispanic people treat Black people is like this. And I don't mean the peace sign either. Not only do white people in America act like the worst possible thing you could be is a Black person, but Hispanic people act like the worst thing you can be is a Black person. So there is no trust. There is no camaraderie. There is no we are in this together, because Hispanic people have never, and I mean never, treated Black people that way. And so this last election, I can't predict this, but it really may have been the nail in the coffin in terms of the relationship between Black people and Hispanic people. Hispanic people are going to have to go a long way before Black people will ever trust that they have our backs, because they've proven that they will stab us in our backs over and over and over. In the last election, America had the chance to save itself from its racist, hateful, tyrannical, nasty instincts. And what America did instead was lean into them and embrace them and say, you know what? We are so scared that this highly intelligent, highly educated Black woman will get into office and wield the power of the presidency the way all the men before her have done, that we would rather have a racist in chief than a true president. And that is the choice America has made, and that is the choice that America will be held accountable for from now until the end of time. People seem to believe that the current president will be remembered well by history. If that is true, it will only be because white people wrote it. History is written by the victors, right? History isn't written by the losers. It's written by the people who win. So depending on whether American elections will ever be possible again, America's going to need to take a long, hard look in the mirror at the choice it made and either come back from the edge or just embrace the fascism, because fascism is here. I keep hearing people talk about, oh, we're leaning toward fascism. We're not leaning. It's right here. And if you don't understand that, I don't know how to tell you any differently. I have a bumper sticker on my car that says I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. That's exactly what this is. So understand that no, Black people are not going out in the streets. We're not protesting by and large. There will be a few of us here and there who are not listening to their elders, who are not listening to the message that the rest of us are giving. But the majority of us will not be there. And we will not be there because we have no faith and no trust. And if you have no trust, you don't have anything. That's true in marriage and that's true in life. If you don't trust the person standing next to you, if you think they will step back when the bullets start firing, anybody with sense isn't going to be there. The final thing I wanted to say this week is that America is not looking at the big picture. This administration has prompted and encouraged white people to be more nasty and more racist than they ever have been, both online and in person. Now, the people doing it in person are in the FO phase of the FAFO because they're getting met with, let's just call it pushback, whether it's verbal or physical or whatever is happening. There are lots of stories coming out of people in public calling people the N-word and getting punched in the face or whatever. People need to remember that online behind a keyboard you are anonymous, but in real life, no, you're right there, so you really might not want to do that. But people feel emboldened to just be nasty and hateful. But what America doesn't understand is that the destruction of Black people that it's so gung-ho for will lead to the destruction of America. The fact is, whether you like it or not, Black people built America. Black people was built off the blood and sweat and tears of the unpaid labor of our ancestors. And those ancestors have been making it clear lately that they are not happy with America. And so people may be gleeful and happy and think that, oh, if we just take Black people, we're going to throw all the brown people out of the country. And then once we do that, we can take the Black people and just ruin their lives. We're going to take away their civil rights. We're going to make it harder for them to go to college. We're going to destroy the Department of Education so the inner city schools, which are already struggling, are going to be completely destroyed. And then we won't have to deal with those people either. America is seriously in a self-destruction mode, because white people think and believe that if they are just the superior race and if they have high enough numbers, they'll be able to run this country the way they want to run it and the way it should, in quotes, be run. But if you export all the brown people and you try to destroy all the Black people, the only people who will be left, white people, are you. And you have proven time and again that you're not good at sustaining the country. There are jobs you don't want to do and aren't interested in doing and won't do. So if you have no Black people and no brown people, who's doing those jobs? How are you going to sustain a country of just you? Just Karens and Susans and Chads and Bretts, people who don't want to do manual labor or things they think are beneath them. I don't know how you think that's going to work, but you really do seem to be in the mindset of, if we destroy these other people, then we will once again be superior and be on top. America always seems to conveniently forget its humble beginnings. Forget that the reason the Pilgrims survived to have children and to start America is because the Native Americans saved them and helped them learn how to grow crops and deal with this, rugged land that they didn't understand and knew nothing about. And maybe at the end of the day, we should look to the Native Americans. Well, we should anyway, because we should express our sorrow and apology for how we treated them. But at this point, maybe what we should say to them is, we are sorry that you saved those people. We are sorry that your ancestors saved the ancestors of the people who are now here, because their offspring's offspring have decided to destroy everybody who is not like them. The Pilgrims fled England for religious freedom, for the freedom to live the way they wanted to live. And America has since decided that the only people who should be able to live that way are people who look like the descendants of the Pilgrims. We are a country of immigrants, period. There are two groups of people who were not immigrants. Those are the Native Americans who were already here, and the Black people who were dragged here. Outside of those two groups, everybody else's ancestors came from somewhere else. So for America to now act as if immigrants are bad is just mind-boggling. And as I said at the beginning, flat out exhausting. So Black America, I hope that you had a good Juneteenth. I hope that you rested or had a barbecue or somehow enjoyed yourself, that you blocked out all the noise from people about why is Juneteenth even a holiday. I hope you blocked out all that noise. And I hope that you are in a place of rest and refocus, and that you are ready to focus on ensuring that you, your family, and your community thrive. Because no one, and I mean no one else, is looking out for us. So we need to look out for ourselves. I want to thank everybody for joining me this week. Again, happy Juneteenth. If you are not subscribed to this podcast, please do so. Right below my head here, there should be a subscribe button. If you know other people who would enjoy this podcast, please pass it on to them so they can also hear my life lessons and my take on all sorts of topics. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next week. Take care.